To start the workout, we're gonna do a warm up to really get the muscles warm, the body warm, the blood flowing. It won't be difficult. It'll just get a little sweat going so that the workout it helps with preventing injury, and it helps the person too for comfort. If you're working out stiff, it's harder to get full flexion in the muscles and your joints may hurt. So warming up prior to the workout helps with that. The first movement we're gonna do is just an air squat. We're gonna do 15, 10, try to be slower with the movement because we're not trying to overwork ourselves. There, that was a good leg opening and leg warming up movement. Now we're gonna move into like a full body. We're gonna do jumping jacks just for 10. Obviously you can take this slower. You can pause the video. I'm gonna go at a little faster pace. For the stretching, I will slow down. Next, we're gonna do a lateral lunge. This hits differently than the air squat does. Hits the inner thigh, hits some hips. That doesn't necessarily get targeted in the first warm up. And go wide, down. 10 each side. Now that our legs are nice and warmed up, our knee joints are ready, our hips are kind of opened up, we're gonna move into an upper body warm up. We're just gonna do push-ups. Go off of what you know your body can do. If you have to be on your knees, that is okay. Go at any pace as well. After your 10 push-ups, we're gonna repeat those 4 workouts one more time. Take a 15 to 30 second break in between if you need, or go right into it, however you're feeling. We're just gonna do it for 2 rounds, same exercises. Jumping jacks. Back to our lateral lunge, 10 each side. Now, we should have a light sweat broke, our muscles should be warm, and our joints should be feeling somewhat opened up, and we can move into some mobility. Okay, now we're warmed up, and we're gonna move into mobility, a little bit of stretching. I personally, from lots of coaches that I have been taught by, we usually don't like stretch before workout. Instead, we work on like mobility, which is kind of like stretching, but it's more opening up joints and your hips, your shoulders, so that the workout is smooth and you're not gonna be injured, and you can go farther in squats and you're gonna have less joint pain. So the first movement we're gonna do for mobility is a squat to stand. What you're doing, you're going whatever's comfortable, feet distance. You're gonna bend down like a pike standing, but you're gonna have a little bit of bend in your knee. You're gonna touch your toes. So however much it takes to bend your knee to be able to touch your toes, that's what you're gonna do. This will warm up your hamstring. Rock back and forth if you need to for a little bit. And then you're gonna go down into a squat. Still keep hold of your toes. This is a good hip opener, thigh opener, glute opener. Just keep your arms still straight down, touching your toes, and try to keep your chest open and go as deep as you can. We're gonna be down here a little bit. We're gonna go back up, still touching our toes. Warm up, rock back and forth, hit those hamstrings again. We're gonna go back down here in a little bit. We're gonna add something else. Going back down. Now you're gonna take one of your right arm first. You're gonna reach back as far as you can and look up at it. Look up at your hand. Really reach back, even if it's difficult. Come down. And then switch, go to your left arm. Reach as far back as you can. Try to look up at your hand. Back down. Hold on, just a little bit longer down in this deep squat. Come back up. Rock back and forth, get those hamstrings. And relax, you're done. That should really hit a lot of leg, a lot of knee. The next thing we're gonna do requires being on your hands and knees. Just like this, I'll show from the side. And your hands and your knees. Another big part of mobility is your spine. Your spine is probably one of the most important parts of your body. Any spine injury can lead to never being able to work out again, extreme pain. It's really important that we take care of our spine. So we're gonna do some spinal rotation. It's called thread the needle. You're gonna take your arm, and you're gonna thread, touch your shoulder to the ground, back out, 5 each side. Really reach, rotate your spine. Almost look up at the ceiling while you're doing it. You're gonna take your other arm and repeat the movement. Really important that we get that rotation in our spine so that we're doing movements, we don't over-rotate and hurt our spine or our nerves. We're going back to our hands and knees to do one more thing. Bird dogs. So what you're gonna start out, you're gonna start your hands and knees. You're gonna alternate. If your right hand goes out, your left leg's gonna go back at the same time. Like this. That's 1. 5 each side. 2, 3. At the same time, shoot opposite arm and leg out. So I just did my right arm and my left leg. I'm gonna switch. Left arm, right leg. While we're still on our hands and knees, we're gonna do a really deep lunge. This is one of my favorite for opening up the hips and really getting lots of hip mobility. This will increase how far your leg can go, how deep you can get in almost all workouts. So we're gonna go into high plank, like this, just for a little bit. You're gonna step your right leg as far as it can go, like this, up to like your shoulder. You still wanna keep your back leg, your back knee off the ground. We're just gonna sit here for a few seconds. Really get deep in the stretch. You're gonna go back to high plank, switch sides. Back to high plank. Now we're doing the same thing, other leg again. This time we're gonna add more rotation. So whatever side your leg is up, you're gonna rotate open towards that knee. 3 times. Switch and do the same thing. Perfect. You really should feel some good opening in your hips. Your legs should move nice and freely. And you're still warming up. You should still have kind of a sweat broke. We're gonna move into some calves now so that we're not gonna pull any Achilles or ankle tendons. You're gonna go down, back to your knees again. Yes, I know it's a lot. High plank, you're gonna walk your hands back. So kind of have some knee bend. We should kind of step with your knees back and forth to just warm up those calves. That's good, that's all you really need because we've been hitting calves in other parts. And now we're gonna go to my favorite, probably, it's another hip movement. It's just a 90-90 lean and switches. On your butt. And you're gonna go 90-90, like it says. Back leg, a 90-degree angle, your knee bent. So your hip should go out, bend at the knee, back, 90 degrees. The other leg is also gonna be at a 90-degree angle. This time your quad is gonna be facing forward, knee bent with your foot going towards the camera. It should look like this. Now we're just gonna lean. Lean over that leg, you should feel a really deep stretch in your hip. Switch sides. Same thing as before, front leg at a 90 degree, back leg at the 90 degree at the knee. Lean. Now, you can stop there and you can move on to the workout. You can skip past this next part. But I'm gonna add one more mobility movement if you really have problems with hips and you really need to get your hips a lot more warmed up before you work out, or you want them to get more flexible. We're gonna go back to the 90-90, but we're gonna do a little bit different. 90 degrees. So you see how your legs are placed? You're gonna switch without using anything but your legs. And put your hands together so you don't use them. You're simply gonna switch. You're gonna keep your feet on the ground, lift up, switch sides. It's pretty difficult if you've never done it before, but it is really, really good for your hips. Go back. You should stay at that 90-90 while you move and at the end of the movement the whole time. That switches, the 99 switches are also good for, of course, the opening, but it's a strengthening too, because you're having to use a lot of hip. Now that we are all warmed up and we are nice and mobile, we worked on lots of mobility, we're gonna move into the workout. So we're gonna do a full body, low intensity workout. Doesn't take any weight. We're gonna use some bands, some resistant bands, and then just one prop, because we're gonna be doing some sitting. So the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna start with a leg workout. We're gonna do one thing. It is a tricep. It's 3 movements, back to back, only for 3 rounds. The first movement I'm gonna explain, and then I'm gonna do the workout so I'm not having to explain and breathe hard. So I'm gonna show you what it is and then I'm gonna do it and you can follow along. The first movement is a pistol squat. Pistol squats are great because lots of people do the same movements over and over again and they don't change it up and they don't see progress. Pistol squat is a one-legged squat from sitting. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna get something that's a good height. This is just above a normal chair to me. And this is where we're gonna start. You're gonna put one leg out, not touching the ground. It can float around, it can move a little bit, but don't let it touch the ground. Simply, you're gonna stand up on that one leg, like so. Down. This is a really hard workout because obviously you're using only one leg. You have to worry about balance and of course power, because you're using lots of different muscles that you're not used to working, say in an air squat, because you're using balancing muscles and you're off balance from one leg up in the air. So it's really, really good for your leg. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna go 8 to 10, how many you can do. That's 1 on each leg. Boom. You're gonna do 8 to 10 on each leg. Instantly, you're standing up, and you're gonna go to jump squats. Pretty simple, it's just a squat to a jump. You're gonna do as many as you can from 8 to 10 reps. Like so, squatting and jumping. Then, now you're doing lots of movements, you're probably out of breath, you're gonna have something to kind of cool down a little bit, and it's just a glute bridge. You're gonna lay down on your butt, legs up a little bit towards your butt, your knees are bent. You're gonna lay back on your back, and you're gonna drive your hips to the ceiling. Your hands can be on the ground, they can be on your chest, whatever's comfortable. You're simply just gonna drive up, so that you're on an incline, down. That's it, that's the movement. Do that for 10 reps. That's one set done. I'm a little out of breath. I got a good sweat going. It's low intensity. It's good for your joints, but I'm still obviously getting a good workout, as you can hear from my breath, but it's easier on my body. I'm also obviously getting strengthening done. We're gonna do that 2 times. That's one set. I'm gonna do it one more time. You can do 3 sets, but since I'm in the video, obviously, you can pause it and do it how many sets you feel as you move up. Just take 15 to 30 seconds to catch your breath and you're gonna move in. There, we just hit our legs. I just took about a minute break to catch my breath and get what I need for the next thing. We're gonna be hitting upper body. All you need is resistance bands. I have 2. I have a heavier one and a lighter one with handles. The first movement we're gonna do hits chest. This is just a straight set. It's just this one lift. We're gonna do it for 2 sets of 10 to 15 reps. Like I said, it hits our chest. Also hits some of the rear delt, other delt parts, because we're using the whole joint, but it's just in the name, band pull parts. You're pulling the band apart, like so. You're gonna do that for 10 to 15 reps. Boom. One set done, you have one more to do. In between, obviously you want your body to rest a little bit, catch your breath. I usually go pretty fast, 15 to 30 seconds in between the set is good. Plus we're only doing 2 sets of each of these workouts, so you don't need a huge break in between. I'm gonna move back into my next set. Obviously, as you get stronger, you're gonna need stronger bands, or some of you might not be able to use this band. You can use the lighter band. Boom. That's a really good workout. I also use that as a warm-up sometimes for my weightlifting. So we hit chest. We're gonna move on to shoulders. This is not a straight set. This is a superset. Just like we did for legs, that was a tri set. This is only with 2 movements, but they're still back to back. I have a lighter band, because obviously your shoulders are a lot smaller than your chest. We're doing 2 movements. I really like bands because you can do a lot with them. You can do lots of different variety of resistance and different movements. You can pretty much make it whatever you want up and it will work. But we're gonna be hitting the middle delt and the anterior delt. So the anterior delt, we're gonna start first. You're gonna put the band on the ground. These ones work great because they have a handle, but you don't need the handle for these. You're gonna use one or both of your feet to step on it. And then to adjust the resistance, you can step more on the band for more resistance, or step on the band a little bit less for less resistance, whatever you're able to do. So simply in the name front raise, we're going to raise it in the front. Do this for 15 reps because of the lighter resistance. Really fatigue the muscle. Switch sides. Obviously that was only one arm, so you have to do the other. Step on it. If you can, it's hard to see on camera, but I have it on the ground. I'm stepping on the band with my foot for 15 reps. With these, obviously there's a lot of free motion, so you need to be careful on whatever's comfortable for your body. When I'm doing that movement, I have a little bit of bend in the arm. We obviously don't want to be doing this because you're not going to be hitting the anterior delt. You're going to be using bicep. So arm straight out when you're lifting. For the superset, the second movement is pretty much the same thing. Obviously you're just moving out to the side. Still stepping on the band down here. Only you're gonna be raising it to your side. This hits the middle fibers of the delt. Same thing, we're doing 15 reps. Switch sides. That is our superset. You're gonna do that 2 times. So 2 sets of 15 each. And that will really, you should feel good burn in your deltoid. I'm gonna be moving into the back now. We hit chest, we hit shoulders, we're gonna move into the back. Obviously, I have a kind of a different setup, but we're gonna be doing a banded row. Find an area where you can put the band around like a post in your house. If you have like a railing, or if you're at a gym, find any like beams, or what I'm using a rack of weights. But be able to wrap it around so you have both your handles. You don't need the handles, you can use a regular band too, and grab it on the loops, and you're simply gonna row. You're gonna sit back so that the band is in line with a pull with your elbows driving back. You're gonna sit, you're just gonna pull. This is a banded row. You're gonna drive your elbows back. And do that also, just like for shoulders, 2 sets of 15. Take breaks in between if you need to. In the 15 seconds. This is a pretty light resistant band. Usually I would use a pretty heavy resistant band because my back is quite large. But obviously, if you're an older person, if you're new to lifting, if you're recovering from an injury, all these band workouts are great for recovery, getting your muscles back to where they need to be, and of course, just keeping your joints safe. Now, we're getting towards the end of our workout routine and to our cool down portion. The cool down is really important, especially if you're doing a higher intensity workout. Like if you're running long distance, or if you're doing a lot of sprinting, it is really important to have a portion right after where you get your body, your temperature cool down, your heart rate lowered back to resting, so that you're not going from high intensity to sitting down or going home. It shocks your muscles. So the cool down is really important. Since today we did a lower intensity workout, we went slower and we didn't push weight, the cool down doesn't need to be as intense or urgent. So we're just gonna do some stretching so that the lactic acid buildup doesn't make you sore. It's also just healthy, so that it helps your posture, helps your flexibility. It's always important to stretch after you work out, because when you're lifting or using bands, your muscle is getting really tight, it's contracting, so it's important to loosen that back up. So to start, we're gonna do like we did in the beginning, a lunge. Only it's not gonna be as deep as before. I have a mat because I'm on hard floor. You can do this wherever. We're just gonna go on a nice, relaxed lunge. You're just gonna kind of lean, back knee on the ground, front knee bent. You're gonna kind of lean forward. This really stretches your back leg's hip flexor and also hits the forward leg's hip. Real slow. Hold it 10-15 seconds, whatever's comfortable. Do that to both sides. I'm gonna get this leg's hip flexor now. Now, we're gonna move into kind of a yoga position. It's called child's pose. This kind of hits the whole body. You're gonna get on your knees, and you're gonna sit back onto your legs like this. And then you're just gonna lay forward with your arms stretched out. This really gets all your back. Your legs are your arms are reaching out, stretching your back. Your hips are low, stretching your hips and your glute. And you're just gonna hold this with your head rested on the floor. And it's also really important during that to really control your breathing. You know, you're holding still. So really help get your heart rate back down from when you're working out, is just work on your breathing. We're also gonna be doing a calf stretch, because personally, I have really tight calves and it makes it hard to do any running because my ankles and my calves are super tight. So kind of like we did in the beginning, only we're gonna hold it a little longer. It's just kind of a downward dog. You go in a plank. You're gonna stick your butt in the air. You're gonna try to keep one foot over the other and keep that foot flat. Drive your ankle, your heel down. You should feel really good stretch in your calf. Switch sides. I did two sets of about 15 seconds each leg there. And now since we warmed up, or stretched out, cooled down our legs, we're gonna do a little bit of the upper body. It's not as crazy important to do a cool down for upper body because we just used like resistant bands. These stretches are pretty common. You're just gonna be doing some shoulder stretches. One of them is you're gonna bring your arm up, reach down your back. You're gonna take your other arm, and you're gonna pull your elbow towards your other arm. Relax the shoulders and do the other side. Arm down your back, other arm pull. We're going out. I like doing arm circles and stuff like this too. Just kind of cool down the muscles. Relax them forward and backwards. And then cross them in front of your chest like this. Just kind of swing them. The last thing that we're gonna do to end out a routine is a little bit of a wrist stretch and forearm stretch. I learned this the hard way, is I used to never work this into a workout, and I would get bad forearm pain. And when I would bench press, my wrists would hurt because my forearms would be so tight. So simply what you're gonna do, you're gonna take your hand, I like going palm up, arm, you're gonna pull your fingers back, like so. You're gonna pull them back with this arm. You should feel the stretch up to the top of or bottom of your forearm and even in your wrist, like so. It's a little pain, it shouldn't be painful, but it should struggle. Just do that. This is also an easy stretch that, let's say you're in class or you're watching TV, you know, and you're just watching your television, you can just stretch your wrists. Very important if you're doing movements that there's lots of weight on your wrists, or if you're doing push-ups. That's really important. So that was my low intensity body weight and resistant band workout. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you can work this into your workout routines for the week. I suggest doing a workout like this 2 times a week. You can use it as a recovery day. So say you lift all week, do this on the weekend, because it's kind of a recovery. Also, I did workouts like this when I was recovering from an injury. I broke a collarbone, so my whole shoulder was weak after that. So I was limited to using bands to strengthen all those torn muscles back up. So I hope you enjoyed. I hope I didn't go too fast, and I hope I explained well enough on what to do. Of course, at any point you can pause or rewind to hear me explain it again, and just go at your own pace. This shouldn't be a hard workout. It shouldn't be challenging. It shouldn't hurt. It should just be a really easy, relaxing workout.